3.4 million. 3.4 million are stalked annually. 75% to 95% of victims are stalked by someone they know. Most stalking cases involve some form of technology. The use of technology to stalk. Presented by the Stalking Resource Center, National Center for Victims of Crime.
Stalking has changed over the years because stalkers are employing more and more techniques to perfect their crime.
Technology is being used in most stalking cases.
And so there used to be a lot of time and energy involved in stalking someone, and with technologies it has become a lot easier.
Technology is great, but it can also be misused by somebody who has the intent to harass you or stalk you as a victim.
I was married for 10 years, and my ex-husband was controlling. He became verbally abusive, and I decided that it was just best to end the marriage. Immediately upon speaking with an attorney, things started happening. He started showing up places where I would go. He seemed to know information about me that he shouldn't have. I took a new job and did not tell him where the location was or who I was working for. And the third day of the start of the new job, he showed up.
Unfortunately, Sherry's example is very typical. Stalking, finding the victim, watching her, controlling her, those are all indicative of abusive, controlling relationships.
And when he was able to appear, even though I hadn't seen him following me somewhere, I started figuring he must have something that's technology related and some way of tracking me, because there's just no way he could know where I'm at, and the timing was perfect.
So we have been hearing for years people calling in and saying, I know this sounds crazy, but every time I move, I go to a shelter, I try to do something, it seems like the perpetrator knows what I'm doing. I feel like people aren't going to be able to believe me.
So it might start out with harassing behavior, and then it becomes scary behavior, and then it becomes victims who are very afraid.
No place feels safe because you can never be certain that it is safe. So it's a terrible existence. It's a terrible way to live because you feel like you're being hunted, spied upon.
I think that the perpetrators are empowered because by using a lot of these devices, they feel that they are anonymous or that the police are not going to be able to trace them, which in many cases, it is extremely difficult to trace some of these devices that are being used.
The technology is advancing, and it's advancing at a rapid rate. So even if you are not allowed to employ it in your investigations, you should be aware that it's out there so you can identify it when it is being used by your stalker.
Technology and stalking.
I think that technology is becoming so pervasive in our community that somebody that you would think is not tech savvy could use electronics in their stalking with ease. These are, ready to go, just, plug and play type of systems. So it doesn't involve a lot of technological intelligence or technological skill to employ a lot of these methods. It's just somebody who is very dedicated to their stalking.
Cell phones.
One of the technologies that we see in almost every case is cell phones. Cell phones are pretty pervasive in our community. I don't really know of anyone that doesn't have a cell phone. And what a stalker does is obviously he has the phone number for the victim. We have victims who have 120 text messages in 15 minutes. We have victims who are getting phone calls. He'll start at 2 o'clock in the morning and he'll call me until 6:30 in the morning. A lot of times victims will start to block. So they'll put a call block on so the texts won't come in, or they'll send it right to voicemail so they don't have to listen to him talk. Well, that aggravates the stalker. So then the stalker looks for more means. Well, how else can I get to her?
Telephone spoofing.
Spoofing allows stalkers to change or alter the telephone number coming into the victim's caller ID. They do that by the use of an internet website that they can contact, and you make up a telephone number to that victim's cell phone. Also, a stalker can alter or change his voice through spoofing. If it's a male offender, he can change his voice to a female voice.
Phone spyware.
The phone software now that's out there to monitor somebody is quite alarming, because you can literally log on to the internet, and if you have a PayPal account, you can purchase pretty much anything.
Spyware can be installed on a cell phone both remotely and non-remotely. The stalker does not need to have physical possession of that cell phone.
You can remotely access a phone even though the phone is not technically on. You can listen into a conversation if you download the software to a person's phone. So now you monitor text messaging, conversations.
GPS, Global Positioning System.
I can install GPS or activate GPS on your phone so that once that GPS is activated, not only do I know where you are, but I can hook up to the internet and watch you move throughout your night.
I think a lot of the cell phone companies in their family plan do sell that to the parents in order to keep tab on their children. However, if it does get in the wrong hands of a perpetrator, they obviously use it for other means and other purposes.
I can take a cell phone that is GPS enabled and put it on your car.
We may have GPS systems that come in many different forms. Tiny devices that you can stick to somebody's vehicle and follow that individual via that mode.
So I can see everywhere that you're going, I can watch your patterns, I can coincidentally show up at places that you are.
Social networking.
It's interesting how now you have social networking. You have places like Facebook, MySpace, Flickr, things like that that you can now go on and pretty much show your whole life.
So then you'll have a victim who comes in and says, he keeps posting to my Facebook, or he keeps posting about me on his social networking sites.
They may have a new address location where they literally have moved away from the suspect or the perpetrator, and now he has that information. If he doesn't get it directly from her, he may befriend some of the Facebook friends and get it from them.
Once they've blocked him from that, he's going to escalate again. Well, now it's not good enough that I can access her through those social networks. Now I want to try to figure out how can I find out what's going on in her email accounts. And so he'll hack into her email accounts, or he'll try to access her social networking sites by using her identity.
Computer
There's
spyware.
a number of different versions of spyware.
It can be installed both remotely via an email attachment and through the computer itself if that stalker has access to the computer. The spyware enables a stalker to view all incoming and outgoing email, to see what type of websites that victim has been on, to see what various programs that victim has used, and it also can capture snapshots of what that screen or the monitor is showing at any given time. A key logging device can actually be placed on a computer, and it looks like an actual plug that you plug into the back of a personal computer or a laptop. Or it also could look like an actual keyboard itself.
The keystroke versions would let the stalker know every single key that she presses. So he would learn the passwords to all of her accounts. He would learn not only that she is emailing people, but exactly what she's emailing them. If she has a new boyfriend, if she has a new social network, he'll know who those friends are and be able to spread that campaign to them.
Video surveillance.
There are stalkers that will put their victims under video surveillance. If you look on the internet, you can see, sites that will promote nanny cams and covert surveillance, little pens, a pen that will have a camera that has video and audio in it. Well, how hard is it to put a pen in somebody's purse or put a pen in somebody's car?
Surveillance camera equipment can be very, very tiny. It can be fit into various things such as a picture frame, can also be used in stuffed animals. Stalkers may also use a remote access camera that they can go through an internet website, and it can be accessed through that website and can be viewed by that stalker on a 24-hour basis.
This is a crime. You can't harass somebody and hide behind this veil of secrecy and hide behind these electronics. It's my job to now go and look a little bit deeper, a little bit harder in order to find him and pull that veil of secrecy away.
Victim involvement.
When you're working with a victim who is revealing information to you about electronic stalking, it will be really important for you to understand that a lot of the technologies erase themselves. over time.
An officer does have to tell a victim, you need to make a calendar, you need to record incidences, dates, times, and they need to explain why.
Victim involvement is essential for detectives because we're not going to be there 24/7. They have to document each incident. They have to log the phone calls that they're receiving, the time that they're receiving those phone calls, all of that evidence, because the detectives are going to need that to prepare the cases for the DA.
I think it's kind of unfortunate that we have to put this on the victim, but if not for them, if they are not proactive, we can't build a stalking case.
Don't dismiss anything a victim's telling you. It's very important to listen to the victim and document everything she's telling you.
Law enforcement is going to have the perseverance to see those cases through, and stalking cases are long, involved investigations.
Because I knew that it was imperative that I keep reporting every incident, I just did it, and I had like 16 police reports at the end. And it was exhausting and it was hard. In the end, when police did go and seize evidence, what they found was disturbing. They found night vision goggles, ammunition, an application for a concealed weapons permit. They found the spyware he had installed on my computer. He had emails and printouts of emails I had with other people. He had my bank account numbers and passwords. They found that he also had a companion computer system for the GPS in my car, so he was able to remotely access where my vehicle was 24/7. So you look at the bigger picture, the totality of all that information together paints the bigger picture, and they said, wow, and they understood that, you know, this guy was very serious about this, that he had compiled and used every stalking tool available to him and was using it daily, hourly. And because he had access to all of my information, they knew he could have shown up at any time, any place.
Team investigation.
The concept of a team investigation or a multi-agency response to stalking is that no one individual agency has all of the resources necessary for a victim, because the victim's going to need a lot of other things.
Stalking is so broad and so big and can cross jurisdictions, and technology changes every day.
It's important for law enforcement to recognize that type of behavior or that technology that stalker is using.
I am the person that can say it worked. The system works if you use it correctly, if everyone gets together and collaborates on how to, you know, rescue a victim from stalking.
One of the things that's really important is to make sure that if you're an agency that doesn't have a lot of resources, don't think that they don't exist. Make sure that you understand that if you don't have a victim advocate directly in your community that you work with in your police agency, that doesn't mean that you can't make a referral to the National Stalking Resource Center. They have information about investigations that are going on all over the country, and so they watch and monitor the trends that are happening in stalking, so that when you call up and say, boy, I don't know, I have this victim who's reporting these things that aren't making a lot of sense to me, I don't understand how it's happening, have you seen anything like this?
You can't tell someone what it's like to live hunted and to always fear, as long as this person is out there, that you never feel safe.
It's our job to recognize that that is a pattern of behavior, that it's going to escalate, and we have to stop it before it becomes lethal.
Law enforcement rescued me. They saved me. It's why I talk today. It's why I advocate for this cause, because I was lucky enough to escape what I thought was going to be the end of me.
The use of technology to stalk. The Stalking Resource Center, National Center for Victims of Crime. www.ncbc.org/SRC. 202-467-8700. src@ncbc.org.